Good afternoon and welcome to round 3 of the Demolition live show. Anybody that was watching Boris Johnson yesterday will know that the UK has gone back into national lockdown, and as sure as eggs is eggs and as sure as announcements like that are followed by toilet roll shortages and panic buying, they are also accompanied by the return of this show. As you can probably see if you've been here before, we've had a bit of a change around on the backdrop. I think it was quite prescient really. Obviously knew that another lockdown was coming, so spent a bit of money and a bit of time over the Christmas period to get the background looking spick and span, do away with the black curtain that was covering up the mess that was lurking behind. Very quick rundown if I can do that. Those are models. There's a JCB and there's a Liebherr model there. That there is my hard hat, which I normally wear on site, but let's face it, site isn't really happening at the moment. That's a pair of brand spanking new Caterpillar boots that followed me all the way to Japan and all the way back again, and I've never actually been on my feet. Maybe I'll get to use those at some point. That one there, that's a box set of the 40th anniversary box set of the Vienna album by Ultravox. My daughter very kindly bought me over the Christmas period. That really is about it. There's not much more to show you. There's a bunch of Stephen King books there and various other bits and pieces. Nothing worth worrying about. Phone's going off. Some people just need to know that when a man's going live. That really wasn't the point of today, and there's no point in getting into things like the lockdown and the likely impact on demolition, because frankly we've all been here at least twice before, and there's no real guarantee that we're likely to see the end this time around either. So I thought, but I spent a lot of yesterday evening trying to think about what I could do. There's been times over the past few months, or last 6 months, 9 months, where I must admit I've felt a little bit powerless. Obviously, we started these live shows so that I could keep talking, keep people informed, keep them up to date on what the changes to lockdown regulations might mean for demolition and construction. I've tried to share news here. We've obviously shared video clips here, and basically I guess our job has been to educate and to entertain and to inform. But as I say, I have at times felt a little bit powerless. I wish there was something that I could do to reassure people and reassure those that are concerned about their jobs, reassure those that are maybe struggling with their mental health, all of which frankly is way beyond my power. So as I say, I spent a lot of last night just thinking about what I could do, and the one thing I can do, I guess, is I'm a career journalist, but I quit journalism for a short time to go into the field of media relations and public relations and that kind of thing. Career kind of went full circle because I ended up going back to demolition and starting the magazine and the website and everything else. But the main reason that I quit journalism in the first place and go into PR was because I'd become very frustrated and disenchanted with the quality of information that we were receiving as a magazine. And I just figured that if I went into PR, I could probably do a better job than some of those people that were doing the job at that time. We've kind of gone full circle, because some of the stuff that I'm seeing arrive on my desk these days, frankly, is no better than it was when I quit journalism back in 1990 and then took my sabbatical in the world of PR. There's a lot of stuff that I get that annoys, frustrates, irritates, and I thought today, just because I've got a camera in front of me, I've got a nice new backdrop to show off, I thought one of the things that I'd do is to have a look at one of the things that really gets my goat. And I'm going to show you this very quickly. This does actually belong to a demolition company. I hope they're not watching, because they'll probably threaten to sue or something, but here we go. Now, that is the sort of post that I see pretty much daily on Twitter, on Facebook, and on LinkedIn, and occasionally on Instagram as well. And the reason I flagged that up is because I'm still, after all these years, trying to work out what the point of that kind of post actually is. We get demolition companies posting those all the time. As I say, I see those at least 4 times a week, I guess. Sometimes I see them several times in a single day. And they're always the same. They're always a snapshot from Google Earth or something. Um, they use a red line to outline the project that they've just won. But to what end? Because for one thing, they never actually say who the client is or exactly where the location is. So if you're a subcontractor, a scaffolding contractor or a plant hire or another sort of industry supplier, there's no way of you saying, oh, actually, that's in my area, I'll go and make contact with them. They don't share who the client is because obviously they don't want other rival demolition companies getting to talk to their new customer and possibly stealing work in the future. So that post just goes up completely without comment. It's usually accompanied with something along the lines of, "We are delighted to announce that we have just won this project." But what does that mean to anybody else? Now, if you're following that company on LinkedIn, let's say you're a client or a supplier to that company, what are you gaining from that? What possible value are you gaining from that? That's like me issuing a press release to tell the demolition world that I've picked up a PR client in the demolition field. What do you, as demolition professionals, gain from that? Nothing whatsoever. All that is just me stroking my own ego, boasting about the fact that I've picked up some new work. And frankly, that's exactly what these demolition companies are doing. They're not delivering any kind of value whatsoever with a post like that. And again, I think one of the reasons that I wanted to highlight that was we are living through a time now where I would like to think that every demolition company, but every demolition company, because that's where my expertise lies, is watching every single penny that they spend. They'll be watching their fuel spend, their insurance spend, their staff spend, and obviously they'll be watching their marketing spend. Now, the chances are there is somebody within the office, whether they're a marketing professional or a receptionist or just an intern or something like that, but somebody is working in an office and they are being asked to populate the social media account of a demolition company. And the best they can come up with is an unspecified post that shows a job that a company have just won. What does a demolition company gain from that, apart from a slight rush of adrenaline because oh look, we've just picked up a new bit of work? That's not delivering value to their client base, their follower base. And speaking of follower bases, obviously because I write about demolition, I've found myself over the years on the mailing list of a lot of demolition companies who now produce their own in-house newsletter. And they're perfectly at liberty to do so. In actual fact, I've helped a few companies set those up, and they've continued very successfully with and without my help over a number of years. But you have to be so careful in what you actually put into those publications, and the reason for that, is there seems to be this split between what a demolition company considers to be interesting and what their readership considers to be interesting. I'm just going to say a very quick hi there. Good afternoon, Davis. Good of you to join us. Let's go back to the newsletter. So I've had newsletters, as I say, I probably get a dozen, maybe 15 a month from various different companies. And yes, they've normally got work that people have picked up, and maybe their client base do need to know about that, and there is a bit more detail there. But the fact that a demolition company has just sponsored the church football team, who cares? You probably care if you're the vicar of that local church, but beyond that, you probably don't care at all. And yet that's front page news of a demolition company's brand spanking new newsletter. Fred the driver has just retired. That's fine if you know Fred the driver, or if you are Fred the driver, but if you're not, who cares? Who cares? And I keep coming back to this because as I say, we are living through troubled times and uncertain times. Somebody somewhere is being paid to do that. To what end? You know, if you're properly watching your marketing spend as a demolition company, you want to be able to say, I spent that pound and it generated that £2. Telling people that Fred the driver has retired, or that you sponsored the under-11s parish football team, is not going to move the needle on your business one iota. It's entirely up to you, but you know, my recommendation would be to spend the money better elsewhere. And I'm starting to wonder if this is a kind of a bounce back from the world of social media. We live in an age now where everybody seems to want to be on social media all day, every day, and it's like when you watch Sky News. There was a time when people would publish news once a day. You know, you'd all sit around and watch the 9 o'clock news, and that would be your bite of news for that day. We're now in a world where we have a rolling 24-hour news schedule. So what used to be fairly mundane details and fairly mundane facts are now presented on a rolling basis once an hour or once every 30 minutes as important news. And it's not. And social media is exactly the same as that. We don't need to know what everybody had for breakfast. We don't need to know where you are every minute of every hour of every working day. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And all the time that you're doing that, for one thing, you're spending money and allocating time that could probably be spent better elsewhere. But you're also undermining your audience. If you only post on Instagram once a week, but that post is absolutely phenomenal, it's a really nice piece of video or a really well shot photograph that explains some of your expertise, or where you stand out from the crowd, or where you can offer value to a client, that would have far more value than posting 3, 4, and 5 times a day with lesser quality photographs and lesser quality videos that don't really say anything at all, that are just you walking through a site. I think that's probably my rant over for the day. The phone's been ringing the entire time I've been online, so I've probably got a few phone calls to make. I hope you like the new backdrop. I'm sorry I'm back. As much as I enjoy talking to a camera and enjoy talking to an audience that may or may not be there at any given time, I'd much rather be back out on site, even though it's freezing cold today. I'm not entirely sure when this pandemic's going to end. I'm sincerely hoping that the vaccine will kick in and we will start to get some sort of national immunity, and we can all get back to travelling and meeting and greeting and getting together again, because frankly, I don't know about you, but I'm missing it enormously. I got out on site just before Christmas with the good folks at Armac, and I've not been on site since, which is why my hard hat is still sat on a shelf there. Looks very nice under the blue light, but it's not really serving much of a purpose, to be honest. So as I say, just a final thought before we go. Think long and hard about what you post on social media and what you send to magazines like Demolition Magazine or to demolitionnews.com. Good afternoon, Michelle. Great to hear from you. Let's hope for a good 2021 and some, Michelle. Absolutely, and some events as well would be marvelous. I'm looking at the horizon now and looking at where we should have the Executive Hire show and the Hillhead show, and there's a possibility of a return visit to Las Vegas later in the year for the Mine Expo show. As it stands at the moment, I think all of those are looking very, very sketchy in the extreme. I hope I'm proved wrong. I'm wrong a lot, and on this occasion, I'm certainly hoping that we'll be wrong on this one. So that'll do me for today. Chances are I'll be back again. If not tomorrow, it'll be the day after. I've got I've got a new backdrop, so might as well make use of it. The camera's looking better than it has in the past, so yeah, I've always got something to say. So really hoping that you can join us. Michelle, my thoughts entirely. For reasons, I guess Hillhead is one of those shows that I've been doing it for 30 odd years, but it's also a very, very manageable show. You can spend a day or a day and a half and pretty much do the whole of Hillhead. And as a result of that, it really is one of my favourite shows. Yes, I love Balmer. I thoroughly enjoyed Con Expo in March this year, but Hillhead is a personal favourite. So, you know, I certainly hope from the bottom of my heart that that's going ahead. And so the comments begin. When are we doing the next quiz giveaway? That's a very good question. I'm glad you raised that, Adam. If I remember rightly, you were a winner on one of the recent shows. We had quite an influx of new gear over the Christmas period, and we're already in talks. Just to let you know, on the 11th, which I think is next Monday, there will be a JCB press launch. So we're doing a live show in the immediate aftermath of that. We've got our first proper construction collective show planned for the 18th. So my guess is that the next giveaway or quiz show will probably be around about the 25th or thereabouts. So watch this space. Excuse me 1 second. Yeah, watch this space. As I say, we've got lots and lots of gear to give away. I'm back to wearing the streamer hat, but if you could see the wall over here, I've got a huge array of new hats. I've got some more under the desk here. We had a very, very big box coming from the good folks at Doosan. We've had some gear from Miller as well. So yeah, we've got plenty of stuff to give away. I might also mention the fact, and I did put this onto Facebook earlier, I received a copy of this. The little yellow digger that saved Christmas. Excuse me one more time. I assure you that's not COVID. I've got a bit of a tickle. Yeah, I received that just before Christmas, but unfortunately I was ill for much of Christmas. So I only opened it yesterday morning. Now, my children are all grown up. Grandchildren are probably a bit too young to actually get anything out of that. So I've actually said that if anyone wants that, as I say, it's a children's book. It is available on Amazon if you want it, but I'm giving that one away. So if somebody would like that, I don't want to give it to an adult because, frankly, you're all horrible and you don't deserve it. But if somebody's got a child or a grandchild or a niece or a nephew that likes their diggers and would get some sort of benefit out of that, let me know in the comments, either now or after the show's over and done with. I'll pick somebody at random. And we'll send that on to somebody, and hopefully they will get some pleasure out of it. I keep trying to wind this show up, and I'm going to do it this time. So, for those of you that have been here before, you know how these shows end. Look after yourselves, look after your family, your friends, and your colleagues. I'll be back again very, very soon. As I say, we'll be back on the 11th. To talk all things new JCBs. Don't know at this point in time what they are, but we'll be back on the 18th as well to do the construction collective. And at some point towards the end of the month, we'll be doing another giveaway show as well. So please join us. Okay, Adam, you win, as you asked so kindly. Your little cousin would love it. Let me have your address, direct message or something similar to that, and I will get that bagged up for you. It'll be in the post for you first thing tomorrow, with my very, very best wishes. Until then, I shall speak to you all very, very soon. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again very, very soon. All the very best.